Today's episode is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/figureoutyourlife. With over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, and Kindle. Now let's get to the show. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Figure Out Your Life podcast, the place where we talk about life and try to find the answers to life's questions. I'm your host, Toya T, aka Tardy T, aka Dr. T, aka Latoya Ashantel Tavernier, PhD. Hey guys, welcome back. I emphasized that last part, my whole freaking title, what they're going to put on my gravestone, what they're going to put in my obituary, that Dr. Latoya Chantel Tavernier, PhD. And if there's a hyphen somewhere, cool. But for now, that's what my obituary would read. But I only mention it because today, October 27th, which is not the day that you're listening to this, but the day that I'm recording this. But October 27th, 2014, my beautiful brown ass went to New York, was in New York with my mother, my father, and my brother Kayon. And I was defending my dissertation, my doctoral dissertation. Let me see what time it is. It is right now, I'm recording it 4:37. So I don't think I had even, it's not even official yet. So I'm recording at 4:37 on the Sunday, October 27, 2019. But I don't remember what time that my dissertation defense is. And I'm saying these words and I'm assuming that everyone knows what that is. But here it goes if you don't know, because I know I didn't know when I actually applied for a PhD program what the fuck a dissertation was. But what I'm saying is that in order to be able to get a PhD, all people who are PhD students have to, when they get through their oral exams and their written exams or whatever comprehensive exams that you have to take to get to the next level, and then you put in your dissertation proposal, it gets funded, and then you become ABD, which is anything but, I don't even know, anything but doctorate? All but doctorate? Yeah, all but doctorate. So you've completed everything all but doctorate. So you're ABD status, which means that all you have to do is finish your dissertation. And dissertation is just a thesis, a long ass paper. I know for me, my dissertation, damn, I don't even remember. I think it was 186 pages. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it was. But I'm still talking like people understand what a dissertation is and what a PhD program entails. But in order for you to get a PhD in whatever program you're in, you have to do research, original research. Depending on whatever your department is, they'll give you the parameters for it. But you got to do original research or your own research. Write up this paper, this long ass paper. And for my case, I think it was definitely over 100 pages. But you write it up, you have a bunch of people on your committee that will read over it, not really read it, but then question you about, what your research question, what did you do? What did you find? And at the end of that, which usually happens, your dissertation committee, a thesis committee would never let you get to the defense, which is where you defend your work, which is what I'm celebrating, my defense date. But I would hope that someone's committee would never let them get that far and them not be ready and them not pass them. So it's like, usually what happens is that the committee makes you leave and they deliberate on whether or not it should pass with revisions or without revisions, or should it be passed and suggested for a reward not a reward, but an award or some kind of high honors. But that's what happened for me. So that's a whole dissertation defense. But for me, this is particular particularly special because this is my 5-year anniversary that I defended my dissertation in front of my graduate advisor and my 3 dissertation committee members on my topic, which was Afro-Caribbean. Actually, let me give the real title. Damn, I'm so far out that I'm forgetting my own title. So the title of my dissertation, if you want to look it up, is On the Midnight Train to Georgia. On the Midnight Train to Georgia, Afro-Caribbeans and the migration, the new Great Migration to Atlanta. Damn, I am fucking up my whole title. Okay, let me say it again. On the Midnight Train to Georgia, Afro-Caribbeans and the new Great Migration to Atlanta. That was the name of my dissertation. And for my defense, I had a bunch of my loved ones in there. And I think most of you probably heard the story already because if you listen to the episode on mental health in graduate school, you would have heard my whole defense story and how I brought in my warriors to defend me against the evil people on my defense committee. Particularly just one. But I had my mom in the room, my dad, my brother Kayon, my aunt Floresca, my friend Candace, and my friend Karen. And I had my friend Nazreen outside, who was a part of my program. She had graduated before me, so she already had her PhD. But I had all these people in there supporting me, and I gave I presented my dissertation. I defended it. They were in there just supporting me. And today is the anniversary. I can't believe I've officially had my PhD for freaking 5 years to the day. So I had to commemorate this. And if I seem to be a little bit wonky, it's because I had like at least 2 edibles and unlimited mimosas, meaning that I bought a bottle of champagne and some grapefruit juice. And I just poured the whole bottle into a glass. And then decided to record so I can get this shit out to y'all today. But I was just feeling so good. You heard my little intro music, and hopefully I don't get flagged for copyright infringement. It was just me jamming out to Like That by T.I. I was just hyped. But yeah, welcome back. Today, I'm not really going to give y'all an update on what's going on in my week. Maybe I should. But I guess y'all should know. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, you should. It's at LATOYAT, Latoya T on Gmail. You would have known that on Monday, so this week's been kind of interesting. I've been fighting a war against box elder bugs that have been clustering outside of my mom's house. And I like to let people know that I officially won the war against them. Those motherfuckers are gone. They're dead. All I see is dead bodies. So there will be no box elder bugs trying to get into the house during the winter, creeping me the fuck out. But on top of that, I got a retro pay check from my old job. Leave a job and get a $1,600 check. Like, whoa, I was so happy. I was like, damn, I needed this fucking money. I went to Tulum in Mexico and I need to pay that shit off. I need to have money to be able to pay that off. I need to have money to pay my bills. And so it was nice to finally get my retro paycheck for the time that I spent teaching as a part-time person. Now the short time that I spent teaching as a full-time person, I already got that retro check. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's the fact that the contracts for the professors working for the state universities in Massachusetts, we were working without a contract for at least like 2 or 3 years. I think 2 years. And then they finally, before I left, finalized a contract with the state, which meant that they had to raise up, because we hadn't gotten promotions in a long time, they had to raise up our rate. So everyone was going to get a retro paycheck. So whatever date they used, paying you back what they have changed the salary or hourly rate to. So I got a check. It was so great. That was like the highlight of my week. I also, got off my ass and decided to go to a conference this week, which was happening in Boston. It was at Simmons University. The conference I ended up going to is African American Women in Higher Education. I had heard about this group for a long time now. And I've been meaning to go to their stuff. And finally, it came up in front of my face like, hey, they have a conference on Friday. You're free. You're in town. You can go. You just have to, pay the fee. It's not that bad. And so I decided to do so. I'm so happy that I did. I made some really good connects learned about some jobs available, just realized that in Massachusetts, and this is the New England chapter of the African American Women in Higher Education, but realizing in the New England area that we have quite a few Black women in higher education positions, including faculty, graduate students, and staff, including those who are the gatekeepers, meaning that they're the head of HR or they're the dean of a department or office. And so it was just so nice to see just all these Black women and just being able to talk about the experiences in the academy, on the university level as a Black woman, and how we're underrepresented, how we're treated, how we're overworked and underpaid and all kinds of stuff. So it was nice to connect with them there. And I'm really happy that I went. So I'm just going to say that. So it's really invigorated me, pushing me to realize that I miss teaching, I miss connecting with students. And just one more note about this. So when I was there, I looked at, the speakers. They had like 2 speaker sessions, and one of them included a woman that just started working at my former employer, like at the university I used to work at. She's working there now. She started after I started. And so I went to go introduce myself and said, hey, my name's LaToya, and I used to work at that university. And she was like, oh, wait a second, your name sounds familiar. She's like, oh my gosh, you're that professor that the students are always talking about. And I was like, yes. See, I told you my workplace was on some bullshit, because students still talking about me after I left, telling other people that came after me, like, yo, you really will like LaToya. And they say my full name, like Professor LaToya Taffanier. Like she's so great. She's so amazing. And so it just made me feel really great about myself, and kind of just encouraged me to continue going in this path. Like, I love working with students. I love the whole school environment. I've always been very comfortable in school, although I still have nightmares about my high school. So I don't know, what you can get from that. I don't have nightmares about college. I have nightmares of my 6 years that I spent at Boston Latin School, oldest school in the nation, founded in 1635. I just can't believe it. But so yeah, I'm feeling reinvigorated for my job search, and know that this is the path that I need to be on, and that I also need to continue this, that I have so many facets of me, and that I need to be able to be in a position where I embrace all of those things. So when I was at the conference, and, it was all about lifting us and some professional development stuff, and some, just kind of like, not venting. But I remember writing down like the stuff that I want people to remember me as, like, and, if I died tomorrow, how would I want people to describe me? And I really got this idea because the conference happened at Simmons University, which is in Boston. It's an all-women's college. And the particular special thing about it is that they recently opened up a college of, I think, media, communication, and arts. And they named it after Gwen Ifill, which is a Black reporter. She died, I think, in 2017 or 2016, but she died in the last few years. But she was just very influential, very just important in terms of first in media and news media, news TV, for Black women, for Black people in general. And I learned when I was at the conference, like they gave us a tour for those who wanted. I was like, I definitely want a tour. And just finding out that she is the second Black woman to have a college named after her, which is just so inspiring. Obviously, the first one is Bethune College, which is after Mary McLeod Bethune. Look her up if you don't know her. But that's what. And if I said all that wrong, oh my gosh, like don't roast me. But damn, I feel kind of self-conscious now. I need to look it up. Like Bethune College. Let's see. Let's use this one. Bethune College, Bethune-Cookman University, which is named after. Oh my gosh. I'm like so uncomfortable. Like I was right. Damn, why did I doubt myself? Mary McLeod Bethune. So she's the first Black woman to have a college named after her. She was a champion for education and Black education. And Gwen Ifill is the second Black woman to have a college named after her. And in the college itself, like the space, there was a lot of information about her life, and they had like this one art installation where they had boxes that came out that said different things that she was, like friend, reporter, like truth teller, and all that stuff. And I was thinking to myself, like, what would I want if I had a college named after me or a space? What are those things? And I realized, like, I want to be remembered as an educator, an advocate for students, especially students of color, especially immigrant kids. Just, I want to be remembered as that. I want to be an influencer. I want to be remembered as a podcast host. I would love to, just like a media, not even a media personality, just like like an important content creator. Like, I don't necessarily want to be like Beyonce famous, but I want to be able to help others through my story and through the things I've gone through, including my studies, all the stuff that if you heard that noise, that was my JBL speaker. Just turned off on me because I kept it on loud at that time. But I want to be remembered as, this content creator, YouTuber, a podcast host, but a good friend, like all that stuff. But like, I just realized like what kind of space I want to create for myself. And so I just want to share that with you, that I feel like this is going in the right direction. I am so close. By the time this drops, I'm hoping, because it's just based off of the average number of downloads that I get, I will be over 1,000 downloads. Like, I don't think you understand what that means. Like 1,000 unique downloads, not like repeat people, but like 1,000 downloads of my podcast once this drops. And I just feel so like accomplished. And it's really important because like once you get there, you're like, that people are, listening to you, that they're catching on. The numbers have been increasing significantly each month, which shows me that like I'm doing a good thing and you guys are enjoying the content. But I just feel so proud that I'm so close to it. Like, I think I'm at 985 right now downloads of my podcast, and to have, to reach 1,000 within the same week of the anniversary of me getting my my PhD just feels very special. So I just want to say all that stuff. That's what I've gone through this week. That and like, I got some new edibles from a new dispensary, and so that's what I'm on. I have some Sour Patch gummies and cake batter, like chocolate edibles, like for real. Good stuff. I'm so happy I tried this new dispensary that is not in Boston. It's outside of Boston, like how I live. But when I went, there was no line and there was parking. Awesomeness. So let's get to today's show, right? Gotta take a drink. Let's get to today's show. I was going to do it on Halloween and cultural appropriation, but I think I'm going to make that like a bonus episode. It'll be like, 30 minutes or something. So lately, that's how I've been running, is that I, usually have like topics that I've decided that I'll do for a week, and some of them I'll do, and some of them kind of come off the fly. And so this is one of those weeks where it came off the fly. So obviously you read what it is. This week's episode is figuring out cancel culture and why that shit don't work. I just added that in there. So for those who don't know what cancel culture is, of course, I'm going to give you a definition so you're not lost. So here it goes. And because it is very much an urban term, I took it from Urban Dictionary. Like Wikipedia had a good definition, but I want to go with Urban Dictionary because this is very much a part of like urban culture, aka Black culture. So cancel culture, here's the top definition for it. According to Urban Dictionary, cancel culture is a modern internet phenomenon where a person is ejected from influence or fame by questionable actions. It is caused by a critical mass of people who are quick to judge and slow to question. It is commonly caused by an accusation, whether that accusation has merit or not. It is direct result of the ignorance of people. The ignorance of people caused communication technologies outpacing the growth in available knowledge of a person. And that was a lot. I think I'm also going to read the next definition. I'll read the first three. So So the second definition is from Urban Dictionary. Cancel culture is when a large mob of people come together to relentlessly attack a certain person over an accusation of some kind, which later on is usually proven false. Generally, the accusation starts on Twitter. The original gets questioned, then deleted, but the mob has already started attacking, and the person who made the accusation can enjoy a boost in followers. Let me read 3 because 3 is my favorite number. So the third definition on Urban Dictionary of cancel culture is when a bunch of fucking retards jump on a bandwagon to hate. Oh my gosh, this is like offensive. I didn't mean to say the R word. Damn it. Don't cancel me, please. See, this is how it starts. I say something like that and they're like, oh my gosh, you're so insensitive, and someone takes it out of context and then I get like canceled. But I did not mean to say the R word. So I'm just going to continue. Or ruin someone's life because of one fucking tweet taken out of context and not even worded right without any actual evidence, and some make up shit to make the tea hotter. So pretty much they're saying that it's based off of false information, but I really want to tell you that sometimes cancel culture is not just based off of like quick reactions to things or people overreacting, but sometimes it is over things that make sense. And so I wanted to bring up several examples of how cancel culture works best and how it works worst, or the benefits of it, or the take backs from it. I don't know, but like the positives and negatives of it. And how, like, in general, it just doesn't fucking work. So I'll use, let's see, how many examples? Let's use 3 examples. So let's use cancel culture, for example, how it works well. So I think a good example, I'll just use 2 examples. So a good example of how cancel culture actually works well is R. Kelly. Obviously. So not when he originally came out with the sex tape where he was peeing on that young girl, which did I admit that I had actually watched it with my friends in college in someone's dorm room? I just feel really dirty now. But I guess it's a part of it. Like, cancel culture talks about like ostracizing people or ejecting them from society or from public praise because of a human mistake, like a minor mistake that you made in your past, and then with years and experience and the ability to reflect, you see that your actions are wrong. So definitely I see that my actions were wrong for watching that freaking child pornography. Damn, I'm saying all these words that are going to get flagged, and I'm going to have like the US government watching me. Okay, let me say it again. I do not support people taking pictures or videos of kids having sex with adults or in sexual situations. But when I was 18 and that video came out, I did watch it with my friends, and I feel so dirty now about it. It's just wrong. But from that action alone, from you admitting it, obviously that would give people the opportunity to cancel me. But in the vein of talking about how it works out well, for R. Kelly, we didn't have his whole cancel culture in 2001, 2002 when that video came out. When we didn't have cancel culture when in the 90s when we found out like through magazines and just gossip that he had married Aaliyah when she was underage and he was like a 20-something grown-ass man. We didn't have cancel culture then. We didn't have cancel culture during the original P-tape, sex tape, court case, but we have cancel culture now. And today with, accusations that pop back up about him with the documentary film Surviving R. Kelly, or series that, played out on what was it, Lifetime? Played out on Lifetime. There was more momentum into people remembering like this is wrong. Like, this grown ass man that's having sexual relations and relationships with girls under the age of 18 is wrong. It's disgusting. It's predatory, and we shouldn't support it. We shouldn't just go and forget what he did because he made stuff in the name of love or came out with happy people. Like, that is not okay. And with the extra publicity now, R. Kelly, as we're speaking, is still in custody because things came back up. People decided to cancel R. Kelly. They decided to not play his music on radio shows, on streaming services. People pretty much put up #cancel R. Kelly after watching Surviving R. Kelly, or after the documentary came out and people were talking about it and talking about how wrong it is, and especially during this time of the Me Too movement and the Time's Up movement, it could not be ignored. When we're pointing fingers at Harvey Weinstein, we definitely can't ignore R. Kelly and his predatory behavior, disgusting sexual predatory behavior towards Black children, Black girls. And so cancel culture worked in that case. He lost money. He's only in prison right now, or jail right now, because he can't afford to pay the bail, because of cancel culture. Cancel culture worked well in the fact that people, spread a hashtag, talked about how they weren't going to support R. Kelly, and the non-support of R. Kelly, not going to his concerts, not buying his music, not streaming his music, not listening to his stuff on the radio, not playing it on the radio, had affected him financially, and he wasn't getting money coming in, and that's why he's still in there. And so R. Kelly and his story is an example of when cancel culture actually works well. I mean, it finally pushed me, even though I'd watched the video and knew that shit was fucking R. Kelly, even though I definitely believe that he did marry Aaliyah. I definitely believed it. I could see it. Even then, I hadn't deleted all the stuff, but the cancel culture, that whole movement for R. Kelly finally pushed me to delete all of my R. Kelly music out of my iTunes. And so I no longer have the music. Of course, I still remember the songs, but I no longer have his stuff on there. And I'm happy that it was able to kind of push me to kind of put my money where my mouth is, to walk it like I talk it. So that's where it works. Now, here's where it doesn't work. And I'm not saying that I'm engaging in this, but I've noticed. So we have all pretty much agreed, the majority of Black people in general have agreed that R. Kelly is canceled. There's a couple of holdouts that are when I Believe I Can Fly comes on, I'm definitely gonna sing it. When Step Into Love comes on, I'm definitely gonna dance to it. I'm gonna have that shit at my wedding because it's the wedding song. Okay, whatever. So there are some people that are holdouts, but we also know that there's some people who are idiots. So that's fine. Including this person that I'm going to talk about next, where cancel culture doesn't fucking work. So, Kanye West, right? I talked about him last episode, I think. Yes, I did. I did talk about him and his dumbass, and how he said next time the slave nets go out, that we should all not stand in the same place, and how he's a fucking idiot and anti-intellectual and just a pawn of white supremacists. So, on top of all that, so Kanye very much is a part of this discussion about cancel culture. I'm actually bringing up this topic because Kanye talked about it in an interview that he did to promote his new album, which I'm not going to say because I'm not going to promote it. So if you want to find his new album, you can go find that shit for yourself. I'm not going to tell you what it's called. But to promote his latest album, which is supposed to be a gospel-inspired album, I have not listened to it. I'm not interested in it. Not at all. I already have my own Sunday service in my bedroom that mixed, some Kirk Franklin. And then right after I played that, I was playing some Method Man and featuring Mary J. Blige. That was my version of hip hop, new modern Sunday service. I don't need Kanye's cooning ass to be fucking up my gospel and R&B and hip hop session with his fucking nonsense and idiocy. So, but for Kanye, he started to get canceled once he decided to come public. And that was when he was having his breakdown. So remember when he was going on his, Pablo world tour? I didn't listen to that album. I don't think I've heard any songs from that album. No, not at all. Not at all. So when he was on tour for Pablo, and he had that was right before that he had to get put on a 5150 hold, or he voluntarily put himself on a hold. I don't know, but he had the breakdown. He was hospitalized and stuff like that. And then after that came out and said that he was bipolar, which I still don't believe. I think he's just someone who's severely depressed and never dealt with his mother's death. That's what I think it is. But and has a lot of yes people that is not helping him with his mental health and recovering from his severe depression due to his mother dying on his dime. So Kanye started to get canceled once he came out during those tours and started talking about how he would have voted for Trump if he had voted, and that That's when he started putting out his business about Jay-Z and Beyonce and how they had not, their Blue Ivy had not been over to the house to play with North, and he felt slighted and he felt bad that they didn't come to his wedding and blah 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 blah, and put it all out in the public. And that's when there was a public break between those two famous groups of friends, Jay-Z and Beyonce and Kanye. So that started off his cancel culture, but some people were still behind him. They were like, yeah, people were still going to the Pablo tour, still kind of awed by his innovation in stage presentation, and because he had that floating stage that was going over the crowds and stuff, and his, the music that he put out, which I will never take that away from him. He's a very creative guy. He's very talented in that space, but he's still an asshole. He's still an asshole, and he's still a coon, and he's still canceled in my case. So, but for Kanye, his cancel culture came from him supporting Trump, who is a racist, a xenophobe, a sexist, a predator, sexual predator, a anti-immigrant, just supporter of white nationalism, lazy motherfucker. Let's just put that that way. So when he started talking about how he supported him and that was his brother, when after Trump got elected and he went to Trump Tower to go speak with him and took all those pictures with him, that's when people started to look at Kanye like, I don't know. But then the nail was put in the coffin. Not after he said all make America great and how he admires Trump because he was a guy that didn't have a political background, that was on reality TV and was able to become president. And that kind of, showed him that he can become president as someone with no political background, a rapper and an entertainer, that he can become president one day. And that's why he so admires him. But, and was wearing that Make America Great hats with like random white people and just looking absolutely like he was somewhere stuck in the sunken place. But even then, people still had he still had a solid amount of followers. I'd say he still had 50% of his followers still, right? At least the ones that actually, care about ethics and morals. Not even ethics and morals, but just caring about supporting people that are not trash people and are doing things that are going to cause us harm, and supporting them only for the fact that they make something that is entertaining or valuable to us. But officially, he put the nail in the coffin when he went on TMZ and then started talking about how slavery was a choice. For me, that was fucking it. Even when he married Kim Kardashian and saved her after her fake ass marriage to Chris Humphries, I was like, whatever. Kanye likes big tits and big asses, and Kim has that. So whatever, it makes sense that he would want to swoop in when she was single, because she wasn't checking for him when she was, with Ray J, with Reggie Bush. She wasn't interested in Kanye. But then as he became more popular, she was. But I was still, on the Kanye train. The last album that I have full on songs from is, oh my gosh, what is that? Is it Yeezus? I would like to say it's Yeezus. The one that has Blood on the Leaves and Bound to and On Sight. I think that's Yeezus. I'm not going to look it up, but I was still on board then. But once he made that comment about how slavery was a choice, and especially as someone who has a PhD in sociology, so I, actually have to understand people. And then I also have a background in Africana studies, immigration studies, race, ethnic relations. Those are my research interests. Those are the things that I had as topics that I had to study intensively while I was in graduate school. Those were the concentrations that I had. So gaining all this knowledge and then having this mofo right here on his public platform saying that slavery was a motherfucking choice at the same time that we have Trump as a president and him applauding freaking white nationalists and neo-Nazis. What the fuck are you doing? And don't give me mental health as a reason for why that you did that shit. You did that shit because you wanted to. And I could not stand with that. And so for me, that is when I officially canceled him. But I realized that a lot of people canceled him around that time. But Kanye was smart or whoever his people were, and and has decided to use the R. Kelly pre-cancel culture, pre-internet, pre-Twitter, Black Twitter, and all this stuff. The formula that R. Kelly used to not get canceled for those two major incidents that happened. So the marrying Aaliyah and the P tape, the child pornography tape that he created. Those two things were easily erased by him putting out good music, putting out soul music. So music that Black people cannot boo, cannot, if they ever went to the Apollo, and if you ever watched Showtime at the Apollo or ever been to the show, you know that there is like one way that you cannot get booed. You can, if you do anything else, people will boo you. Like, Lauryn Hill was booed there, and she sang Who's Loving You by the Jacksons. She sang that song and got booed, and is an amazing artist, amazing singer. But the one thing that you can do that will guarantee you, even if you're off key, even if you just sit there and just kind of like squeak out a couple of noises, that people will, the Black people will never boo you on, never shut you down. Do you know what it is? Gospel music. It's a saving grace. Black people love themselves some Jesus, love themselves some Christ, loves themselves some church, loves themselves some God. And I know it sounds like an exaggeration or a generalization, but like it is true. And I say like Black people, I mean just like, the majority of Black people seem to have this kind of attachment to gospel music. And I do too. I mean, I told you I was jamming out, had my own little Sunday service, but I'm more spiritual than Christian or religious. And so it's different for me. Like those songs have like certain meanings to me in terms of the wording and the way that they're put together. But I'm not sitting here reading my Bible every night and going door to door and telling people about the good word of the Lord and how Jesus is king. Even though he is. I don't want nobody coming after me. But that is a one key to Black people, to the Black community, the general Black community. And so for Kanye, he used R. Kelly's formula where he put out Steppin' in the Name of Love. And I think that was like a 2-part. There was like Steppin' in the Name of Love on one side, and then the other side was gospel, or was that Happy People? One of them, he had a gospel album, and people forgot all about all his transgressions. And so Kanye has done the same thing. He has allegedly found God, found Jesus, and is going to church and no longer agrees with Kim wearing skimpy clothes and his daughter wearing makeup and crop tops. And I'm like, okay, stupid. Like, you seem to be all about that shit before. But whatever, I guess you found Jesus and you think that's what Jesus wants you to do. But in a way to kind of erase his cancel culture, status, not R. Kelly, Kanye, but these tricky ass freaking Chicago dudes, Kanye decided to start doing Sunday services. So at first it was in the desert. I think it was in Palm Springs. But pretty much anything that's outside of LA or outside of the coast of California is the desert. Like as you go east in California towards the border, towards like Utah and Nevada and stuff, it is just fucking desert. And so he was going out in the desert, and I think he had done some in Calabasas too, where he was like having these Sunday services. You got like a full-on gospel choir, and they were mixing gospel music with like secular music, so you could hear God is Good remixed with like Shake That Ass, Watch Yourself. Like literally. So this is what he was doing. It seemed to be something he wanted to do, but it was free to the public, open public. And so people were recording it on, for social media. And I saw these things and I'm like, okay, it's cute. The gospel choir definitely can sing their ass down. And I actually met somebody when I was on the Tulum trip that said one of their friends was actually a part of that gospel choir, which is cool. I mean, it's a great exposure. You're getting to fly around all over the place, singing the music that you love and getting paid for it, I hope appropriately. But Kanye was like, building this up, he's been doing it for months. He's been doing it the entire, I feel like 2019, and it's been growing momentum. He did like an impromptu Sunday service on a plane, and that went viral. And then they did a song for Dave Chappelle for his birthday, and that went. And then now he's been going to different churches, and then he just dropped this album. And it seems like even those I know that usually criticize him, and even people that I feel like were upset when Kanye said that slavery is canceled, are like excited about this album or talking about this album or saying like this is how it's gonna sound like I still listen to Kanye. When he went to Howard Homecoming, that shit sold out. And even though that was the place where he said like, you know, next time that they send out the slave nets, like move, don't stay all in the same place. Like people are still supporting him, and that is an example how cancel culture can be negative. How it doesn't work, how we should find something else, how it probably should just have a different name, because Kanye was found a way to circumvent the whole effects of cancel culture. He's like, okay, he talked recently on an interview about how, yeah, like people say I'm canceled, and I don't fucking care what, you know, Black Twitter has to say about me or my wife or any of that stuff. And it's like, that's really funny because he shouldn't care. Maybe he should care. I mean, he obviously does care, but like, it doesn't even fucking matter. He should have just pointed out that it doesn't fucking matter, because even when Black Twitter can have a whole cancel Kanye, Kanye still cancel and blah, 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 you'll have people that are still supporting him. And then maybe I'm supporting him now by talking about him and giving him publicity because it's what he wants. He wants attention and publicity because he's a narcissist. But I just realized like the whole cancel culture, and I tried to be as, you know, ethical and socially conscious as possible. But I even realized for myself, like, yes, I do engage in things that don't fit with my ideals. And I use that same criteria to cancel people. And maybe that's not something that I should be doing, because I wouldn't want people to cancel me for the fact that I definitely would say that I wouldn't say like I'm an advocate for LGBTQIA plus community, but I definitely will call people out on their homophobia or their transphobia, queerphobia, whatever. I will call people out when they do that in front of me, and I will not, you know, I'm not bothered by people having sexualities that are different than mine. I don't care. I don't care what you do in your bedrooms. You know, that's what you do. As long as you get off, it's all good. So, but I wouldn't say I'm an advocate, but I'm definitely someone who is a supporter. I don't want to say advocate, supporter. But I do eat at Chick-fil-A, and the owner of Chick-fil-A, like the big time owner, is very anti-LGBTQIA plus, and has, you know, pretty much used money to support like organizations against and policies against gay marriage and just homosexuality in general. But yet I had Chick-fil-A on Friday, and I realized that's a huge contradiction. And if I was in the public eye, that is an easy way for me to get canceled, an easy way that I would cancel someone. Cause like, you know, I canceled Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft, all Patriots related. I canceled, and the Patriots in general, I canceled them because, Tom Brady had a Make America Great hat in his locker, and then he's good for him, and Bill Belichick, which is the coach, and Robert Kraft, who's the owner of the team, are all friends and supporters of Trump. And I was like, you know what? Fuck the Patriots. You know, I don't care if they win. Fuck them. Fuck those teams. And then someone had to point out to me, like, there's plenty of other players on the team that have, like, absolutely don't even follow that whole ideology, don't support Trump. And so I can't really penalize the whole team for the actions of a few people. And I realize, like, again, like, contradictory that, you know, sometimes you have to check yourself, and you have to realize that everyone's human, even those who are celebrities, and that we need to give them a little bit of grace. But in the terms of Kanye, I am not forgiving that motherfucker. I'm sorry. As a race scholar, I can't. As a black woman, I can't. As a black woman PhD, I can't. As someone who absolutely loved his music and was bumping a song that he was on. I was listening to Swagger Like Us by T.I. that had Jay-Z and Kanye and all. I was like, you know, I still listen to songs that have him on it. I really did appreciate him as a artist. I remember seeing him before he was big, when he was doing his college dropout tour, and he came Columbia for Bacchanal, the Bacchanal concert. absolutely love Kanye then. And it just hurts so much that I have to say that he's fucking canceled, that I have no interest in listening to his music and supporting him. Yes, I do click on articles that talk badly about him, but like, I think that's lingering, love and fandom that I have from him. And I haven't deleted all of his music yet, but I feel like he's getting close to it because his current actions have shown me that I cannot fully support him, since there's some people that said he was canceled, said he was doing things that was detrimental to the Black community in America, especially during this time where we pretty much can get shot for breathing or not breathing. We can get shot and killed, just killed in general in America, for blinking our eyes, for going into our own apartments, for eating ice cream on our own couch. That I feel like I need to be stronger in my convictions to not support this person. But again, that just shows kind of the problems in cancel culture. So I want to full my support. And I say that he's canceled, but I'm talking about him. I say that he's canceled, but I read the articles about him, which I guess does add to his fame. So it's really hard to kind of figure out how cancel culture is really supposed to work when, yes, there are good things that happen, like the things that happened to Harvey Weinstein and how he's finally getting convicted for his sexual predatory actions, sexual assault, just being a lecherous, nasty man with power. That came from the cancel culture. That came from the hashtag Me Too. That came from Time's Up. And that is a way that it works well when people decide to cancel someone for their past behaviors or current behaviors that are no longer acceptable. But in the terms of Kanye, I feel like he's getting more famous. Like he's getting more money from people putting him in this cancel culture. I mean, he has a soundbite to give to articles to do so. He has a platform where he has motivation. I think he's being motivated by cancel culture to put out good content, or content that would get him back in the good graces of people who were somewhat on the fence or not as strongly committed to not supporting him anymore, which just shows the absolute flaws of it. And another thing that about cancel culture that I realized that is problematic as someone who tries to be woke, tries to be educated, tries to be intellectual, tries to be conscious. Sorry. I'm still drinking. The problems with it is that it is very much gendered, which I'm not about as a feminist, as a womanist, as someone who, very much supports the equal treatment of men and women, but also realize that we live in a patriarchal society where women are dominated by men, where we're devalued compared to men, where we're not making as much money as men. If you're talking about, pay equity and being able to take care of yourself, the fact that we still don't make the same money as men do in the same positions that women in general make about 70 something cents on the dollar. Black women make about 60 something cents on the dollar. Latino women make about 50 something cents on the dollar, and Asian women make about 90 something cents on the dollar. Like was that 80? Well, either way, we're not making the same amount as white men do, or men in general. With all that said, I engage in cancel culture, and cancel culture is very much gendered. It's very much different rules for men and women. So I mentioned R. Kelly and Kanye. So R. Kelly definitely on the full on cancel. He can't come back from it. There's only a small percentage of people that are still supporting him, but for the majority of it, he has been affected by financially, socially, culturally by by being canceled. Kanye on another end was only slightly affected, but not really affected. It just gave him a new kind of agenda, gave him a new thing to kind of use motivation to create new music, different types of music based off of the experience that he's getting, which is not diminishing his financial gains or his celebrity like R. Kelly. But when you look at it in terms of females, so I can't think of a female that is fully, okay, I can think of a female that's fully canceled. Candace Owens. These are all black examples because, Black people, black culture. I love black people. So Candace Owens, if you don't know her, I don't know how you don't. If you're listening to this, you definitely has to have an idea who Candace Owens is. If you don't know her, look her up. Candace, Candace, Owens, Owens. Candace Owens. She's like a political figure. She's not a politician, but she's like one of these like political pundits. She's like the black version of Tommy Loren, just absolutely ignorant, spewing out white supremacist ideals without any kind of facts or history or fucks. Like, she doesn't really care what she's saying. She just wants to, be seen as someone who is a controversial voice, as a black person that is championing for Republicans, for conservatism, and for white supremacy. Because everything she says is pretty much just like taking us 15 steps backwards if she had power, but she doesn't. So Candace Owens is definitely fully canceled. But it's funny that she doesn't have, like I said, just that she doesn't have power. Some of you probably never heard of her. I'm pretty sure if I said Candace Owens to my mom, she would not know who Candace Owens is. So she's not affected by Candace Owens and the things that she's saying in the public, the spaces that she gets to be in. And I just saw a picture of her and Van Jones smiling together. And I'm like, see, she's just fucking playing the game. She's playing the game to make money. She don't fucking care about what the fuck she's saying. She just wants to, get her 15 minutes of fame and have people like me talking about her, spreading the word about her, let her be able to raise her price for appearing on CNN or Fox News or whatever, talking all kinds of fucking nonsense that she does not fully support, doesn't really fucking care about, but is just saying it for a check. So Candace Owens fully canceled, but I feel like the vitriol that she receives, like she's saying the same shit that Kanye says, and somehow she is affected by it. Like, people fully do not fuck with her. Fully do not. And that shit don't make sense. Another example of cancel culture being very much gendered and people being fully canceled for the shit that they do, Chrisette Michele. She's also on like how cancel culture works well, fully rejects someone, fully affects their career, their finances, their social standing. Chrisette Michele got canceled when she decided that she wanted to perform at one of the celebrations for Donald Trump's presidential inauguration. So she decided to perform. We don't know how much money she was paid, but definitely was a paid gig. And she had said publicly that she was trying to create a bridge because he was going to be president for 4 years or whatever. Anyway, so she wanted to create this bridge and start a dialogue and all this stuff. And she got fully canceled. Like, people have not gone to her concerts. She has lost money. She has been dropped by her label. She's getting a divorce. I'm not saying all these things are connected, but like, she got a lot of bad juju shit going on. She cannot sell a concert if she wanted to. She couldn't sell out to like a 5-seater. She couldn't sell out a carpool karaoke right now. She's just been fully canceled for this one decision that she's made. She tried to defend herself. She never said that she supported Trump, never wore a Make America Great hat like Kanye, never said people should vote for the Republican Party, should become conservatives, should, run when the slave nets come out next time, to vote Republican because we're being brainwashed by the liberals. Like, she hasn't said any of that stuff. All she did was do her job. She went and she sang at a performance where she was invited. And yes, she could have said no, but she never said that she supported him. She said that she was invited and she decided to do it and thought that it might be, good for her. Just like how she had seen other black celebrities do. She saw Kanye go. She saw, Steve Harvey went to go meet with Trump. Tina Campbell was talking about how she loved Trump or she voted for him or she prayed for him or whatever. You had some of these black celebrities, Jim Brown, like athletes. Jim Brown went to go meet with him. Like, all these people went to go meet with him, and almost all of them have not been financially affected or as financially affected as Chrisette Michele has, who never said she supported him, who never spoke to him, never had any contact with him. All she did was perform at one of his celebrations for his inauguration, presidential inauguration, and that was it. And she has been canceled. And it's funny because she did so little compared to Kanye, and Kanye is still reaping the benefits. I'm sure. Let me go check on iTunes right now. Let me see. I'm pretty sure his shit is probably number one. Let's check the iTunes right now. This is October 27th, 2019 at 5:30 p.m. So going into my iTunes, and let's see. First thing that pops up, Kanye West, right on top. Jesus is King. I said I wasn't going to say what the name of the album is. Maybe I'll cut that out. Maybe I won't. I'm too lazy. But already has it on the featured section. He's underneath. He's featured as the first album on New Music. And let's see if I can find some ratings. You know how they usually have like who's number one. So let's look at the charts. Charts say, okay, so he doesn't have the number one song, but Kanye West has the number one album on iTunes, which just shows like cancel culture did not work for him. And he has been spewing nothing but like white supremacist nonsense. Nothing like he would be if we were in the world of the new version of Watchmen, Regina King would be kicking his ass right now. Okay. Because he is definitely a white supremacist in black skin, definitely stuck in the sunken place, and seems to think that it is something that would benefit us as a people, as you know, people of color, black people in America, to be talking all that yang about how slavery was a choice and how white people had nothing to do with the atrocities that happened, like the mutilation, the rape, the genocide that we decided to just accept slavery. Like that is why it happened. And so they have no kind of, fault in this. That he would go out there and continue to put that out there, continue to talk about how he's going to become president, which is the only reason he's obsessed with Trump. That he would continue to meet with him, continue to praise him, continue to tell people to vote for him when he's coming up for re-election, no matter all the information that has come out to show how he's an absolutely horrible human being, not even a human being, like a full-on Cheeto. I don't want to give him human being status. That he can do all that and have the number one album on iTunes, which means that he's making money, which means that he's going to go on tour and people are going to go, pay to see him. They're going to pay $500 for his ratty ass shirts. And his expensive ass socks, and that Chrisette Michele, I'm not saying that, I canceled her too, but not fully canceled. Like I still have her music. Then again, I also still have Kanye's music, and I've like fully canceled him as a human being. But that for Chrisette Michele, that she has been so severely impacted, and obviously the only thing that's different between her and Kanye, when you're talking about why one person would get severely and permanently cancel and one person wouldn't, is gender. And that is just like ridiculous, especially when you're talking about the idea of a black woman like being so severely affected by actions that were less than a black man. Just shows how gender plays a part in this. Shows that when you're talking about the social ladder, you're talking about the life scale, the life hierarchy, that black women are very much at the fucking bottom. And if you add anything else that makes you a marginalized group, so you end up being Muslim, or you're someone who is not like a homosexual or queer, that on top of that would put you at the very, very, very bottom. If you're disabled, very, very, very bottom. All these things. And I still engage in it as someone who considers himself a feminist. Like, look how complicated that shit is. Now, for where it works on the female side, I can't even think. No, I just talked about what it works on the female side. Where it doesn't work on the female side. Where it doesn't work on the female side, I'm just gonna use Kim Kardashian West. People have been talking about they cancel her. I say I cancel her, but I still fucking talk about this bitch. Like if anyone who took my class any classes with me know that I loved using the Kardashians examples when I was talking about criminology, race, social inequality, intro to social, like, I think, social deviance, all of these places I have talked, like all of my students have taken classes with me, white collar crime, have all heard me use the Kardashians, especially Kim, as an example in every single one of those classes, which shows that even though I've canceled her, I don't support her, I don't buy anything that she sells, that she owns, but I do click on things that has her name on it, because like I like when people bash her. Like if it's gonna be bad and it's gonna be scathing, I'm gonna read it, which means that I still have like interest. Like I don't read shit that has like, no, damn, I hate watch fucking Donald Trump too. Fuck. Again, showing how cancel culture does not work. How we need to move on. Maybe we need to come up with something else. Because as much as I want to talk about how I engage in it and how much there are people that are on the cancel list, on the sick and shut in list, on the, permanently take several seats list, that somehow they're still getting some support and attention from me, that shows that even when you don't financially support someone and within cancel culture, that they're still being supported in some way, still generating some kind of interest for them. And so we should probably move on from cancel culture, because it doesn't work. The cancel movement does not work, but it doesn't always mean that you don't have all the facts. Like unlike the definition that I gave you from the 3 definitions that I gave you from Urban Dictionary, and whoever wrote that seemed to have, like, Kanye, did you write that those last 2 definitions? Sounds like you bitter and you're upset. But just showing that it is not always necessarily about having a lack of information, even though there are occurrences where people will cancel somebody based off of a lack of information. Like you hear a rumor, you hear something, like a small part of a story about somebody, and you cancel them. Like I've canceled Kevin Hart, but I wasn't like a big fan in the first place. Like I enjoyed him, but I already wasn't supporting him. And, I didn't really even care about his old tweets either, yet I canceled him. Which just, again, shows like it doesn't work. We should just stop with this cancel culture and just come up with something else. Because it's not it's mostly beneficial for those who are being canceled, except if they're women and if they're Black women. Because I said for Kim, I've said I've canceled her, but I definitely have spent more time looking her up and talking about her than I do Chrisette Michele. Like this is probably the most I've said Chrisette Michele's name in the last 3 years since she got canceled. But I've definitely talked about Kim and her and the Jenners and all of them, and looked up stories and kept abreast of what's going on in their life, which just shows that there is like a racial gendered aspect in the cancel culture, and that the ones that are most affected by cancel culture are Black women, or just women of color. And so that is a good reason for why we need to just get rid of it. Just decide for ourselves. We don't need to have a group around us who you want to support, who you don't want to support, how you want to not support them or support them, and just, be fine with that. Not have to follow some kind of model or follow a movement of people, especially since it really does not have like a real basis in actual effectiveness or fact. So with that, I am done with this topic. I hope it wasn't too rambled or crazy, seeing that I'm still drinking. I'm awful. So let's move on to the last section, which is figure this out. What do I want to figure out? That is the question. I don't know. Oh, I got one, right? So figure this shit out. What? So why do people that you fucking don't want to see and have fucking done you wrong, why do they like to pop up when you least expect them? Is this like a cosmic joke from God? Like, I feel like no matter what, spiritual entity you believe in or not believe in, I feel like there is another being out there. So let's just put in that, another being out there that seems to get a good chuckle from making these awkward situations occur. Just like if you're watching a sitcom on TV, like you're sitting there enjoying the discomfort and the wackiness and the funniness of a situation that a fictional person is going through, or even a real person if you're watching reality TV, right? So I love just laughing at the people. I'm now currently watching 90 Day Fiance, which again, I gained from the girls in Tulum. Like, ooh, they kept talking, like there was like two of them that kept talking about 90 Day Fiance, and I was like, I gotta check this shit out. And it's on Hulu. I got Hulu. I started watching. I'm watching it backwards, so I started from season 5, even though I think they're on season 8 now, on 8 or 9. But I started. That's what's available on Hulu, so they have 5 seasons of it, the first 5 seasons, and I started backwards. So I've watched, season 5. I'm on season 4 now, and I just love laughing at how stupid and desperate these people are. It's sad, but they're like, it's just entertaining, and seeing like the faux pas that they're doing and having them make mistakes and embarrass themselves. I'm laughing so hard, and I feel like it's the same way with God. Like, what happened to me is that there was this dude, right? This is not a ghosting situation. There's this dude that approximately about a year ago, right? So this all happened in October too. So a year ago, I met this guy on, last year, I met a guy on Match.com, and he was cute. He had a good job. He lived in the city. And I was like, cool. And he's not from here, even better. So I met this dude. I can't even remember what his fucking name is. And I'm not even going to look it up because I don't give a fuck about this dude. But still, he popped up to just ruin my night. So I was talking to this dude for like a month, and he said that he was single, he liked to travel and all that stuff. So we went on a date, it was cool. And after that, he was just like, I feel like I'm not, ready to be in a relationship. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, whatever, bye. So a couple weeks after we broke things off, right, my best friend, Aisha Court, happened to be following this dude's girlfriend. He had a fucking girlfriend the whole time. And she's like, yo, is this the dude that you were talking to? Like the pictures you sent me? And I was like, that is the motherfucker. So he didn't have social media. And I'm telling you right now, I don't trust people without social media. If you don't have social media, you're hiding something. You gotta have something. You gotta have a LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, something. Because if not, you are hiding shit. Either you work for the CIA or you're hiding shit. So this dude didn't have any of that stuff, but his girlfriend did. And I looked through all her pictures because her shit was public. And I was like, oh my gosh, all the pictures this dude sent me was pictures that she took with him, right? So I'm like, okay, great. Thank God that dude is out of my life. I don't need no motherfucking cheating ass motherfucker who want to talk about he's single and he on fucking online dating sites, but he got a full ass girlfriend talking about, that's my baby. We went to Japan together. So I say all this, that on Sunday I went out. I was being social. I think I told you that, you guys that last week. I was being social. I went out to this Black Oktoberfest event. Blacktoberfest. That's what it's called. Not Black October, but Blacktoberfest. Event that was in Boston. It was at night. It was cool. Had a good time. But I ran into this motherfucker. I looked over, and this dude, this is how, like, I mean, God was actually just looking out for me and also laughing. So set me up with this guy. I saw the guy, and the only reason I recognized him, one, because like, I remember faces, and we were only dating like last year, but two, because he likes to wear like really like outlandish suits. So he, like, imagine this light-skinned dude, maybe about 6 foot, wearing a Steve Harvey like checkered blue and white suit with a top hat, not a top hat, but a hat on top. Imagine that. So not hard to see. If you saw this dude in a club, you walking around a club, you just trying to check out the scene, you would definitely see him coming from a mile away because he looked like a damn fool. He looked like a deacon. I don't even know what he looked like. He does look like a church deacon, but like on a special occasion. Because he was way overdressed, like just way overdressed, like dressed differently than every single guy that was in that venue, one. And two, for our generation, like, what the fuck? Like, dude, you really do look like you took the suit from Steve Harvey's, like, VIP special collection. So I saw him, I pointed him out, and I was like, I can't believe this motherfucker. Like, this is what I'm talking about when you start dating people and it doesn't work out, especially online. And, you know, hopefully that's why I like dating dudes that aren't from here, because like they don't usually know about the shit that's going on in Boston. That's one of the problems I have in Boston, that you really can't figure out what's going on unless you know who, you know, people, or you catch on to whatever's going on. But I knew that I would eventually run into this dude, and of course I did. And I saw him, and I know he fucking saw me, mainly for the fact that like I saw him looking at me, and then I looked away. And then also he was standing when I was like, we were leaving, me and my friend were leaving. He was right near the exit, like right there. So it's like hard not to see each other, but I was like not looking his direction. But I was like, why you gotta pop up? Why men great till they gotta be great? You know, like why the fuck you show up when I am not looking for you? I'm not expecting to see you, and you sitting there looking like a damn goofy ass motherfucking fool. Just like it didn't ruin my night, but it just like threw off the vibe. Like there goes that motherfucker, like all of a year ago. Like how, and it was the same weekend that I found out that he had a girlfriend, because the weekend that it happened was like homecoming weekend for me, and then last weekend was Columbia homecoming weekend. And I was like, damn, like the same weekend that I found out this dude was a fucking snake and I dodged a motherfucking bullet, of course I see him in the club. Like, of course. So why figure this out for me? Why does that shit happen? Like, do you think that God or whoever, the higher beings, are having a good kiki about it, or is it just coincidence? But I mean, I already think that it's just like a little joke, like God's joke. I think I could write a book called God's Jokes, because I got a lot of shit that's happened in my life that can only be comical to somebody that is watching it from like from the full viewpoint, because comical, okay, the shit that has happened in my life. Like I've always said, if I had to describe my life, if someone was going to write a book about it or make a movie about it, it would be a fucking sitcom. My movie would, my TV show would be a sitcom. My book would be a comedy. My play would be a comedy. My movie would be some kind of like comedic, romantic comedy, maybe romantic horror comedy. But it would not be pretty, and it would be entertaining, but not pretty. So it wouldn't have like no, and they lived happily ever after. Like that's not happening. So anyway, I think I'm done. I am done. I'd like to continue drinking my mimosa and probably do my nails and maybe take a nap. But thank you guys for checking back in. Again, if you really enjoy the content that I am putting out here and you were turned off by me being kind of buzzed, kind of not sober, please go and subscribe to this podcast. Wherever you're listening to this, subscribe. Please share it with your friends. Share with anybody who likes to cancel people, that is against cancel culture. And also, please go and rate and review this podcast. Please help me in my quest to become discovered by Apple Podcasts. Like shit, I want to be featured like Kanye. I want to be charting on something without having to do something absolutely ridiculous and idiotic and coonish. Like, just help me out, guys. And with that, I hope you guys have a absolutely blessed morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time you're listening to this, wherever you are. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you guys next week, or I will talk to you guys like a day later, because I did say I'm going to do a bonus episode for Halloween and cultural appropriation, because I feel like I need to say stuff, because even though people think that cultural appropriation is usually engaged in by white Europeans, or just Europeans in general, white people, black and brown folk and colored people of color also engage in cultural appropriation sometimes, and I just want to give y'all tips on how not to do so. Don't be like privileged, ignorant, I don't want to really question anything, when you live in a world there's no racism. White people, don't be them. Don't be the coolest ones. Stay woke, be woke, walk woke. And again, I'll talk to you guys later. All right, bye.